Hey everyone, Greg Philps here. In this video I wanted to take a few minutes to showcase a few of the techniques that I've used for button interactivity, or bounce as I like to call it, in Power BI reports. I've used these techniques in some of my recent submissions to the Enterprise DNA challenges and have found them to be quite useful. In my opinion, one of the most important things that a report designer can do is to make reports self-explanatory for end users, thereby both increasing their utility and decreasing the learning curve and the time that you spend associated with their support. So, an obvious and easy to use and familiar navigation scheme is a worthwhile goal. And with only a little bit of effort, it can be easily achieved in Power BI. So I'll try again. So today I want to describe 3 techniques I've used to implement navigation button bounce in Power BI reports, namely changing the button text font size and or the fill color. The second one would be changing the button image size and or the color on hover. And the third one is changing the button text font family and or color on hover. So what all 3 of these techniques have in common is that they implement subtle differences between the default and on hover behavior of the buttons. So let's take a look at an example. In this file, I have the Enterprise DNA practice dataset used with a simple model of sales, customers, products, and regions, as well as a date table developed from the Enterprise DNA extended date table, as developed by fellow Enterprise DNA expert Melissa. The code used in this extended date table is available on the Enterprise DNA support forum at forum.enterprisedna.co. So here's the data model, which you're probably familiar. A standard star schema, a standard waterfall layout. I've created 3 pages as well, one each for customer, product, and customer, product, and country. And I got a simple sales table on each. I've also created a work page that I'll be using to develop the navigation buttons. Let's do the first one. This work page, create a blank button. So insert button blank. We'll bring it down, make it a little bit larger. Oops, sorry. And now on the theming for it, I'll turn off its outline. I'll set its action to navigation, page navigation, and I'll set it to the customer page. The next thing I'm going to do is set the button text on and set the default text to customer, and I'll set note that the size is 10 point and the family is Seg UI. The next thing I'll do is change the on hover, and I'll set the text size a little bit larger to 11 point. On the button fill, I'm going to turn it on, and on default state I'm going to pick a theme color here, and I'll set the transparency to 0. And on hover, I'll select the same fill color and I'll set the transparency to something different, say 20%. Now I can copy and paste the button twice. So I select it, copy and paste it twice. And I can align them as well easily. Go to Format, Align the left, make sure they're in the same size, and distribute them vertically so that I got even spacing. Now I'll go to the second button. Here I'm going to change its text to products. And I'm going to change its action to go to the product page. And the third one, I'll change the text to country, and I'll change the action to page navigation, or sorry, page navigation, destination to country. And so that's it for the first one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all three of these buttons from this page to each of the other pages. And now I have a simple navigation scheme. So if I'm on the customer page, I can go to product. If I'm on the product page, I can go to country. If I'm on the country page, I can go to customer. A further enhancement you can do is to disable the on hover changes from the button on the same page. So I guess it's kind of like you're restricting the interactivity to only buttons that actually do something on that page. Okay, so let's do the second method now. Instead of changing the font or the font colors, I'm going to use images this time. So to start, we'll need to do a little setup. First, I need to get to source a couple of images with transparent backgrounds. The ones I'm using are chevrons, left and right facing chevrons with a gray color and with a white color. So in this example, I've got 4 files. I've actually edited a couple of them already to make copies that are slightly different size. So you can see I've got 4 images here that are 256 by 256 pixels. In order to make them appear as if they're bouncing a bit, we'll need to do a little bit of work. So to open the left image, I open it in Paint 3D, which is bundled with Windows 10. From the canvas menu, I choose make sure that lock aspect ratio is saved, or sorry, is enabled, and resize image with canvas is not saved, and I'll change it to be about 15% larger. And you'll see that the image stays the same size, but the canvas gets a bit larger, and I'll save that with a bigger suffix. I'm not actually going to do that right now for time, but I do have them here. So next thing I want to do is I want to add a blank button once again. I am on my work page, so I add a blank button, bring it down to another size. Once again, I'll turn off the outline, and this time in the default state for fill, I'm going to add an image, and I'll add my bigger image, left gray bigger, and set the image size to fit. And then I'll change the on hover. I'll change the image to be just the regular. Sorry, I think I got the wrong one. I want to choose the one that's white. There we go. And once again, I'll set the image size to fit. So I'm going to repeat the same 2 steps with for the right button here. I'm not sure the size I got, but it doesn't really matter. We can adjust that afterward. So once again, in fill, I'll choose for the default state, I'll add the right chevron bigger and set its size to fit. On the on hover state, I'll change the image to the right white, and again set its image to fit. So now I have buttons that change. I think you can't see them on here. Let's just put a background on them so that they're easier to see. And I can make them the same size too. So now you can see that the buttons appear to bounce a little bit as they're moving from one to the other. So once again, I can copy these navigation buttons to each of the 3 pages that I have in my report, and I can adjust the target of each of them. So I'll adjust the action on this one to be page navigation, and I'll go to the next page, which is product, and on product I'll use the action on this one. I should have set this earlier. Page navigation, I'll go backwards to customer. On this one I'll go forwards to country. And on the country page, I'll go backwards to product on this one. So there we have it. We have the buttons that will navigate you forward, and they appear to bounce level. They'll go backwards as well. So there we go. That's the second method. The third method that I have is actually very similar to the first method, only I just use a change of font size and fill transparency change instead of changing the size of the font. So I'm not actually going to do that one. I'm going to just include that in the example that I have, but I won't take up your time with that. So that's all for now. As we've seen, it's not very hard to introduce some subtle and familiar interactivity to your Power BI reports. The choice of bounce method that you use, or even if there's no interactivity, will of course depend on your particular situation and the desires and experiences of your end users. But I hope these techniques can help enhance your Power BI development toolbox. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the Enterprise DNA channel so you don't miss out on any new content. Thanks for watching.